Alright, boys and girls, game number one. We have coLDignitas going up against Team Acer today here at the Acer Team Story Cup. And it is, of course, once again an elimination system best of 9, and it's going to be awesome. We are starting things off with our Zerg player, starting to the bottom left of Yonsu, map number 1. It is Bly. And starting to the top right, we have for coLDignitas SeleCT. One thing, of course, to highlight once again is that coLDignitas is not like it's like one team. They didn't merge or anything. They just like play together in the ATC. And we have the same with Empire and Team Fnatic, for example. So it's just like double team action. But the last time that they played, they really had a pretty tough time. They were playing against the Taiwanese team, against the Joey Flash Wolves with Lenog and San back then. And well, SeleCT and his friends did not really have a good time there. They lost with a 5-1 and therefore are currently on a -4 indicator here in the league, which is a pretty bad start if you so want. And now they are up against one of the best teams that we have in the Acer Team Story Cup, Team Acer itself, the champion from Season 2. They did a really good job, and especially in the match that they played against Evil Genius, if you remember that. That was absolutely brutal. It was really, I mean, that was them just steamrolling. Innovation with an all-kill against EG. It was, yeah, it wasn't pretty. Like, if you had children in the room, parents were just trying to get their children to safety because the scenes on the monitor, on the screen, they were, yeah, that was definitely the stuff that nightmares were made of, at least if you are into StarCraft 2. So right now, it's starting to the bottom left. We have Bly not starting things off here with a hatch first, instead going to the spawning pool to the top right, gas, and of course also barracks taken by SeleCT. We're going to see the Reaper opening. Nothing too amazing here, exactly what you would expect coming into a Terran versus Zerg on a small map like Yonsu. So no surprises so far. But yeah, with the opening player being Bly, SeleCT has a chance here to do something. If Innovation would have started, then most people would have immediately led to the assumption that Innovation is gonna do an all-kill, or at least gonna get like 3 or 4 kills for his team. But right now, Acer is starting things off with a different player this time, not relying on their Korean powerhouse, but instead going for Bly. And Bly is a pretty strong player in himself. One of the biggest strengths that Bly has is that he's very unpredictable. He will throw like the craziest cheeses against you if he thinks it's a good idea, and he can be pretty decent. Like, I feel people don't give Bly enough credit. He might not be the best European player that we have, but he is a very solid one, and he is one who's not afraid to change things up a little bit, and that is one of his biggest strengths in the game, in my opinion. So for now, we have the second base nearly completed. Of course, pool straight into hatch. We do not see gas for him just yet, just the Queen support, trying to keep that Reaper at bay here for now. Overlords are getting into position. Those Zerglings that we see here are also trying just to get into a good position to maybe take down the SCV that's over here. That's why we usually see a second Reaper coming out, and this one just hovering there, which is not the case this time. The Reaper, number 1, on the other hand, is now at the bottom, just taking a quick detour through the Zalnaga watchtower, if he maybe can spot something. For example, if he spots an Overlord just hovering somewhere, which is usually not the case, then you could think about like getting the Marine and sending it over, but the second Reaper is already on the way. And Reaper number 1 is going to jump right into those Zerglings, and that's something that Bly already sees, so the Reaper is not going to do too much here. And at the same time, the Lings are trying to run in and maybe take down the SCV here, but they're already a little bit late. The command center is nearly completed, and the second Reaper is already on the way. Actually, it's a double Reaper that he's building with the reactor that you already put into the game. So let's see what he can actually accomplish with that. That's 3 Reapers for him then so far. And with 3 Reapers, you actually commit quite a bit in the early stages. But on the other hand, 3 Reaper Hellion can get pretty nasty if the Zerg player isn't prepared. It's basically just a tag team that is not only there to push creep tumors back, but can also kill a queen. And the one good thing that you have is it can really try to hide the second step of the Terran player. You don't really know what's coming if you don't spot it. And for now, the Overlord is actually trying to make his way into the main base and see exactly that. And he will see that there's a command center. So at this point, Bly is already well aware that he's not gonna be faced with Banshees, so the queens are a little bit safer. But there's still a triple Reaper in the match, and they are trying to go ham on that hatch over here that he's building. That's actually something that he could potentially force a cancel on. He will force a cancel here, because at this point Bly doesn't have anything. The Queen, and well, I doubt that the Queens can do too much here. To be quite honest with you, the Queens will probably die themselves. But yeah, this hatch has to be cancelled. The Hellion is moving in now as well. The Queen is already off creep, and Bly sends them back. He realizes that this third base is not going to happen just now. Also the drone going down, so really good job by SeleCT in the early game, pressuring Fly quite a bit. And he's pressuring that queen. There's a triple queen right now, but with good micro, he can do a lot here, and he's going to get that queen. Whoa! He doesn't get it! Doesn't get the queen and loses the Reaper in the process. A little bit too over-eager here. Bly with the micro and the luck that he needed in this situation to make that work. Got a lot of hit points already gone, and that's exactly the energy that the queens would like to put into additional creep tumors that they have to use now to transfuse each other and make sure that the queens are not going to die here. The wall at the front already set up, and this is a pretty interesting build that we have from Bly. That reminds me a little bit of a build that we saw on Akelon Wastes a lot, where you just go into a Roach push with speed on 1-1, and that could be exactly what we're seeing here. The Roach War, on the other hand, is not hidden, and therefore it's a little bit doubtful, but let's see what Bly is going to do here. For now, he's just going to protect his wall. He still has a couple of Zerglings, and the queens themselves are doing a great job. The third base has been started again, but Bly also lost another Overlord here, apparently. So currently being supply blocked. I'm not quite sure how that happened, though. The Marines must have... yeah, the Marines apparently took out the Overlord that was trying to get into the main base and have another glimpse there. So, down at the bottom of the map, we still have those Reapers and Hellions trying to do some damage and moving in. But, of course, the Zerglings also trying to take down the rocks here to make sure that they can defend this third base a little bit easier. Not enough Lings to really contest anything here, so he needs to be careful. But with the Hellions and the Reaper, he might be able to do some damage to the hatch. This time he's not going to be able to force a cancel, though. Baneling Nest being built as well. This is looking more and more like we are going to see a pretty heavy commitment on layer with speed and +1/+1. We don't have the extra Overlords just now, though. And that's a bit of a problem. He needs more Overlords if he really wants to go for that, because he is pretty short on supply here, as you can see to the top in the HUD. So the third base is safe for now. That's a lot of Roaches already that he has, and he's still committing to Roaches. 4 Overlords at a time are now being built, but he's losing a bit of production time. It's not too bad, because he can just start the next volley of Roaches once that those injects pop, and that should really coincident very well with those Overlords hatching. So this is a pretty sick attack that he has there. On the other hand, we have for SeleCT already a few precautions taken. He has triple bunker, and he's going straight into additional Marauders, and that's exactly what he needs. Marauders and Stim, and Stim is already done. Combat Shield is on the way. So for now it really looks more and more like we might even see a commitment with him going... oh, another supply block here for Bly because he lost another Overseer. We might see a Hydra then. This is something that Tefel, for example, really likes doing. And Bly might go into a similar build, but for now it's just about the Roaches and trying to do damage with them. A melee upgrade being researched now. Apparently Bly already preparing a transition out of the composition that he's using right now. That means we won't see that Hydra then. Yeah, he's not going to do anything with this. There's like Stim already, and with the Marauders here, they can control the choke point, and of course those bunkers at the front are also going to do a really great job once there's a SCV repair train, and that's exactly what we have here now. So at this point in time we have the 1-1 on the way. We have even, ooh, I like that, the Tunneling Claws. I haven't seen that in this matchup in a long time. So a pretty decent move here by Bly, trying to be super nasty against his opponent. Adding another Baneling Nest. Did he cancel the first one? Yes, he did. He actually cancelled the Baneling Nest. I'm not quite sure if it was scouted and he tried to fool his opponent, but for now he's rebuilding it. So he would like to have those Banelings to bust through the front. He's trying to take down that third base and actually gets a couple of SCVs. So decent job so far by Bly, making sure that his opponent is not getting ahead in economy. And takes down a significant amount of harvesters already. 7 in total, and is probably going to get another one at least. Yep, that's 8. So, job well done. The one thing that Bly also does with this, I mean, he's pushing SeleCT back. SeleCT is struggling a little bit to really gain that map control. As a Terran player, you usually would like to have those 3 bases and really work towards the late game in this matchup. But right now, Bly has the entire map. He's spreading creep like a maniac. And SeleCT is trying to break out with a bit of a medivac attack, trying to go for the drop play here. And that's actually a pretty smart idea if you think about it. I really like that. Trying to go into the main base and open up another front there where Bly has to focus his attention to. But we already have a few units over here because we have 1 burrowed Roach. I think the Roach saw the medivac. Something saw the medivac. He's very well aware that there is some kind of push out. There's a double Spinecrawler already, and we also have the Roaches here in position. So this drop is not going to do anything, and of course SeleCT realizes this immediately. If you look at the supply in general right now, we have in terms of army supply a slight lead for Bly. SeleCT is closing that gap though. and is also very much in the same position regarding the harvest account, so a very decent economy for him. The upgrades are currently a bit in favor of Bly, who has just more support upgrades than his opponent. A nice attempt here with a burrow upgrade, blocking that command center. I really like that, and at the same time with this also making sure that another scan has to be forced out of Select. So that's exactly what you need to do. More scans going down now as the Terran player is trying to push that back. Look at the creep already spreading towards that third base. This is just Bly going completely ham on it. 1-1 also completed for Select now, and an armory started a little bit too late to start +2/+2 immediately in time. So he can't really research those upgrades back to back. Has a bit of a time frame in there. At the same time, if you look at the idle worker count, much higher for Select. Of course, as a Terran player, you will always have a higher worker count, but that's pretty significant here. 1,200 seconds. Keep in mind, if SCVs wait at the bunker for repair, of course, that's gonna increase as well. Supply block, 108 seconds against 77. Nothing like too fancy. 3 roaches in the main base, on the other hand, are a pretty fancy move here. Yeah, all those things that we just talked about, the supply block and also the harvesters, it's something that you have to think about a little bit. This is of course something where you can see the mechanics of a player, but it's not really the game-winning move. This, on the other hand, could be a game-winning move. Really distracting the opponent at 3 different locations at the same time. Another scan being used, but he killed quite a few of harvesters and he stopped the mining in the main base. So 22 harvesters killed in the process. Mining time stopped in the main, and drawing his opponent's forces like from one base to another. That's a pretty nice move that we saw here by Bly. And you can really see that Select's worker count or idle worker time is completely going ham right now, because all those harvesters are just now moving back. There's still harvesters everywhere on the map that it didn't really account for. He has Lings, Banelings, and also a few roaches on the way, Bly that is. A Spire is being built, so he's transitioning out of it. Bly's strategy right now is just to keep Select guessing what's gonna come next. He always has a bit of an attack there, he always has a bit of a move that Select might not really see coming, and that gives him the time to go for a 4th base, to get his tech into the game, to just make sure that he has his upgrades ready. But the Terran player being on 3 bases is going to be pretty happy as long as he has a decent economy. And we talked about the harvesters lost 26 in total, but at the same time you have to realize that with triple mule he can really get a lot of income. And that's a pretty big army that we have for Select for exactly this reason. 180 army supply against 117, moving on to creep, pushing it back now, and really trying to do some damage with this as well. The 2-2 isn't completely done just yet. We have those upgrades already completed for Bly, but they won't be ready for Select for this fight. Nice split so far, but the Marines are running back, trying to hide behind the siege tanks, and in the end, oh my god, there was no splitting over here with that Bio army. The initial ones went too shabby, but then he lost his entire army and he got steamrolled. I mean, whoa, Bly going in like a boss and taking him down, and suddenly it's the Zerg player who really puts on the pressure once again. A couple of battle knights that we have here, sorry for that. But yeah, at the same time, this is not looking pretty for Select any longer. This 3rd base is completely exposed. We already have that missile turret going down that will give the Roaches the ability to tunnel again if they need to. Lings streaming in, the reinforcements for Bly, they are everywhere. The Zergling count right now is at 56. They're chasing down the Marines and Marauders alike. Those few medivacs that he still has, they are just not enough. Select is on the ropes here in game number 1 at the ATC. coLDignitas against Team Acer. And there's just way too much that is currently dying for Bly. With the Mutalisk, he can chase down those siege tanks in the main base. The choke point not mattering at all. And this is absolutely brutal. Contaminate used against the barracks, and the GG called. Select down to 50, supply against 170. Game number 1 goes to Bly, goes to Team Acer here at the ATC Season 3 2014.